Call this meeting to order Tuesday, May 16th, 2023, 7:04 PM, City of Somerton Regular Council Meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jesus Roldan, Councilmember Luis Galindo, Councilmember Miguel Villalpando,
Present.
Councilmember Juan Castillo, Councilmember Martha Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilmember Lorena Delgadillo.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We're gonna move on. Call to the public. Anybody from the public that wants to address council? There's no one. We have one proclamation, Building Safety Month.
Whereas the City of Somerton is committed to recognizing that our growth strength depends on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence is in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and other in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit organization that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern buildings codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas it starts with you, the theme for Building Safety Month 2023 encourages us all to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, I, Gerardo Anaya, Mayor of Somerton, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities.
Thank you. We have some cool hard hats. Also bought my steel toe shoes so we can take a picture. So I'm gonna sign the proclamation and invite staff to come take a picture. We have two items in consent agenda. Approval of minutes for work session of March 21st, 2023, and council meeting March 21st, 2023, and check register for April 2023. Does any member of council want to remove an item from consent agenda? Is there a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
The motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez, second by Councilman Galindo. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have two presentations. The first is presentation by APS regarding annual preparation for summer months.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members. We should have Regina Townsend on the line.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Regina, you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Thank you. Mayor, council members, this should be short and sweet. We give this presentation every year just to let you know what we're doing to prepare for the summer months. So you have the presentation in front of you. Doesn't look like I can control the screen from here, so I'm just going to go through it slide by slide. The first slide shows, which you guys have seen again every summer, you probably know this better than me, our service territory. We serve 11 of the 15 counties, more than 1.3 million customers. As you know, we're the largest energy utility company in the state, nearly 500 substations, more than 550,000 poles. So large territory. Much of our year is spent preparing for the summer months, which is what I'm going to talk about. For just a quick 2022 recap, there were 884 storm poles replaced from May to October. I know that San Luis was hit really hard by outages last summer. Somerton, not as much, thankfully, but we are working to make sure that that stays the same. There were 17 days of rainfall during the monsoon season. Luckily, we don't really have the wildfires that the northern part of the state does. They spend a lot of their time preparing for wildfires. Again, thankfully, we don't really have to do that. Our focus last year and again this year is on resource planning, making sure we have sufficient reserve margins. As we know, every summer it gets hotter. We want to make sure that we can keep the lights on. Fire mitigation, which is primarily focused in the northern part of the state, but we try and do it down here too. And then just overall preparedness. For 2023, this graph that you see in front of you, the first column is 2022 actual or 2021 actual. The second column is 2022 actual. The third column, the dark green, is what we have projected for our summer usage. So 8,184 megawatts. We do have about 1,200 megawatts in reserve for an estimated use this summer of 9,385. So we have more than enough to meet the need and enough to ensure that we can serve every county throughout the summer. How we do that, a lot of people are like, how's that possible? So in Yuma, we're lucky. We have a microgrid at MCAS, which is that kind of purple square box. We have natural gas with the Yucca power plant. We also have two new battery storage units here. So we put one in the foothills and one in Hyder. Hyder is an area on the way to Phoenix. Those battery storage units are important because they harness the solar power that we generate during the day so that we can use it at night. So this is just kind of an overview of our resource diversity. I wanted to point out to you guys that we have, again, the microgrid, the natural gas, and then the battery storage units, which are new, and we were just able to get those up and running within the past 6 months. We have adequate fuel supply for all of our facilities. So we have conventional generation, we have fuel contracts in place. We also have Palo Verde, which once we start doing tours, I would like to get some of you, Mayor, and some of you council members to the nuclear plant to do a tour. It's really interesting. You get to see the entire process, but we have a secure supply from contracts and then inventory to get us through 2026. And we're obviously working on expanding that out longer term. We do prepare Palo Verde for summer readiness. So all of this is completed by May 1st. So the employees there are provided extreme temperature protective equipment, anything you can think of, from gloves that have to be cycled out after a certain number of months, to hats, to fire resistant wear. We train and prepare our employees for all extreme weather conditions, which we know in this area is mainly heat, sometimes wind. We do walk downs and verify systems and plant conditions on a regular basis. Anytime we have any type of issue, we incorporate those lessons learned in future training. We survey our systems, and then we identify and prepare for critical issues. For transmission and distribution, a lot of what's done is preventative maintenance. So we send out drones and infrared technology to check for hotspots on the poles, to check for lines that might be corroded. We have helicopters that are used to get to hard to reach poles and places that maybe we can't normally get to fix any issues that might occur. We complete very specific summer maintenance. So in the north, we make sure we are trimming around poles. We keep trying to do fire mitigation by keeping any old trees or leaves or rubbish away from those poles. Here in the southern part of the state, we do really heat specific things, like I said, looking for hot spots and other things like that. As far as operational strategies, we do, as I'm sure most of you know, have to execute planned outages from time to time. In the summer, we will not do those on extreme heat days. So anything over, I want to say it's 110 degrees, we will not do a planned outage that day. We make sure that we have strategic staffing. So we have a meteorologist on staff that lets us know if there are going to be extreme weather conditions. And if there are, we make sure we have adequate staff. And then, as everyone knows, inventory for everything from groceries to construction has been affected. And so we make sure to prepare ahead of time so that we have that inventory on hand for the summer months. As far as emergency management, we work with neighboring utilities, SRP in Phoenix, TEP in Tucson. We have close contact with fire and emergency management on a federal, state, and local level. And then we do the standard disaster recovery tabletop exercises. We walk through if we did have to curtail power or ask people to reduce power, what that would look like. So we tried to approach summer preparedness from all angles. Cybersecurity is a new one in this presentation. As we know, some utilities throughout the nation were affected by cyber attacks. We luckily have not been, but we have started to beef up our cybersecurity. We have external audits. We make sure that we are following best practices. And then again, we have third-party experts who give us insight on how to make sure that we are as secure as we can be. Focusing on the customer, before I go over this slide, I do want to let you guys know about two different dates, June 6th and June 7th. We have, we call them care center or care open houses. So they will be held at the Yuma Public Works building from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And they are for any customer who might not be delinquent, but might just have questions about their bill, questions about maybe solar, or they are delinquent or need some help paying their bill. They can come in. We will have live actual customer service reps, Spanish speaking customer service reps on site. We will have CPLC there giving out assistance to people who may need help to pay their bills. So those are not in this slide, but I wanted to let you know June 6th and June 7th, Public Works building. Some of the citizens in your community will get postcards letting them know about this. Again, the postcards are in English and Spanish. We want people to come in and get help. We really are focusing on the customer. So our 1-800 number, we call it a customer experience center, is 24/7. You can call at 2 a.m. and you will get a person. You can call at midnight and you will get a live person. You can also sign up for outage texts and alerts. We have an outage map on the APS website. I highly encourage you and anyone that you can recommend this to download the APS app, because it gives you real-time data on where the outage is and when power will be back on. We have really ramped up our Spanish marketing and Spanish communication, letting people know about outages, about summer safety. We have some heat relief programs. I'm hoping now that, excuse me, Salvation Army has a presence in Yuma, that we can do some heat relief there. And hopefully we can extend that to Somerton and San Luis as well. So basically, in summary, and you guys know this, you probably know this presentation better than me at this point, we are prepared for summer of 2023. I really try to communicate, and I know Danny Ortega tries to communicate with Mayor and Louis on any planned outage we have, any outages that we didn't know was planned, but that is happening, and we try and let you know how soon we can get power up. You have my number. You can text me with questions whenever you need, but the bottom line is we're prepared for this summer. We know that it's probably going to be a hotter summer than normal, and we have the capacity for that. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. If not, that's the extent of my presentation.
Thank you, Regina. Any questions or comments? There's no questions or comments. Regina, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Second presentation is discussion to initiate process of renaming 2 public roadways in the city of Somerton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item on the agenda is a presentation / requesting direction from council on as to whether to rename 2 public roadways in the city of Somerton. And the 2 public roadways which are the matter of this presentation are Parkview Avenue, also known as Avenue F and a quarter, and Tumbaga Loop. So I'll start with Parkview Avenue. Staff has been informed there has been some discussion between perhaps some local elected officials and representatives of the school district as if we could perhaps rename Parkview Avenue to Toro Boulevard or Toro Way. And staff looked into the matter. And so the answer is it could be renamed Toro Boulevard or Toro Way. It would require a public hearing with the Planning and Zoning Commission and then final action by the City Council. If it were to be renamed from Parkview to Toro, it would have to be Toro Avenue, however, because there is no existing street named Toro at the moment in the city. And all streets, all roadways which run parallel to Somerton Avenue have to be avenues if they are the first in there with that namesake. So it would be a simple planning and zoning hearing and then a future council action. However, any road that aligns with that street to the north and to the south in the residential development north of the high school within 150 feet of that alignment would also have to carry the Toro name. And that's the same to the north and to the south. Any questions on that so far?
Questions, comments? No.
So that's the first one. That's and then here's the map. So we're talking about Avenue F and a quarter. I know it just shows that it terminates there at the high school boundary, but the alignment is what would keep that name. The second roadway in question is Tumbaga Loop. Tumbaga Loop doesn't align to any major roads right now. It's the only road that has that name. But there is an issue here that we've kind of known as an issue for a while is the fact that the interior roadway here on the map, the one that actually goes into Yepco Industrial Park, is also known as Tumbaga Loop. We have been made aware there are delivery issues sometimes because of that. So Tumbaga Loop could be renamed Tumbaga Avenue, or it could be renamed to another name. And only the interior roadway would keep the Tumbaga Loop. The process would be identical to Parkview Avenue, being renamed to Toro Avenue. And with the same implications for any future alignments to this roadway would have to carry the same name if it aligns within 150 feet. So at this time, we don't have a recommendation on this. We're actually asking for your direction. If you'd like us to initiate the process to rename these.
Galindo Loop.
No, so who comes with the names? The builders or what? Or the owners?
Councilmember Galindo, the adopted addressing policy has a naming criteria, but it doesn't cover the entire city. These two roadways happen to be in a part of the city that don't have any naming guidelines. So they could be renamed to practically anything as long as it's appropriate and is easy to spell and not too long. But so in this case, yeah, I guess if there are no alignments, the builder could request a name.
Any questions or comments?
Have you mentioned or have you talked about it to Mr. Tumbaga?
Councilwoman Gonzalez, we have not.
No.
But there would be as I mentioned, a public hearing, and he would be notified of the effort, and that's when we would have that discussion.
So it wouldn't change, it would just be Tumbaga Avenue, right, instead of Loop, to clean it up. If we want to keep it with Tumbaga, would it be Avenue?
Tumbaga Avenue,
Okay,
correct.
I think I'm fine. And then Parkway would be to Toro
Avenue.
Avenue. Okay, I'm good with that.
And who
Okay.
wanted to go to this high school?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gal-
Mm.
Galindo Torres.
No, the Tumbaga is being changed because of, it doesn't meet the loop. It just is confusing, so it'll be Avenue. But Toro Parkway would be Toro Avenue. That's entering to the high school.
Very well. So is the direction to begin the process to rename Parkview Avenue to Toro Avenue and Tumbaga Loop to Tumbaga Avenue?
Yeah.
Is that the direction from council?
Galindo?
Nah. Galindo, I think it's.
Porches, let's put porches.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
El Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Villalpando.
Okay, so the street that runs on Tumbaga Loop, the street that runs east and west doesn't line up with like Cano, Eucalyptus, or anything like that?
Councilmember Villalpando, that perhaps it does. It may be Eucalyptus or Cano, as you mentioned, the north one, and then the south one maybe is Sunflower or one of the courts.
Okay, so why not go to that instead of making it even more confusing? You know, if they're lining up with another street, even though the continuation might be, I don't know, a quarter of a mile, whatever it is, I think that's irrelevant. You should still line it up with that corresponding road instead of a little bit of the history of that Tumbaga Loop. They asked for that name because it supposedly didn't line up with anything. But if now we're finding out that it's lining up with other streets, then guess what? It should be named exactly like the ones that it's lines up with.
Councilmember Villalpando, so the north-south road, the one that's shown in the map, that one, it doesn't currently line up with any city streets, but you are right about the two other ones that there could be an alignment there. However, there are no properties that front that segment. So there would actually be no parcels that would have those addresses.
Yeah, but, and that's irrelevant though, because if they ever build on the, what is it, the west side of the canal, there might be some streets that line up. You guys got to look at it from the long-term perspective. And as far as nothing lining up right now with that particular street, it won't be too much longer before they start building houses, and then you're gonna be naming that same street all the way down. So might as well, if you're gonna make the change, follow the code for that, because realistically, it's not like a Toro Avenue that has some special meaning or connection that's going to be there forever and ever.
And
So for me, I'd say you follow what our city code requires for those streets. If it's Cano and Eucalyptus, and it's Cano and Eucalyptus, and the other one, name it the way you would name any other street as per city code. I'm sorry, that's just the way our code is. I mean, he built it, and he justified the Tumbaga loop by saying, "Oh, they'll never build anything." Well, guess what? That never is here. We're starting to build out there, so it's time to change it.
we'll look into that, Councilmember Villalpando. We'll see what, if it is required. Now that the direction has been given to initiate the process, we'll take a closer look at this, and if we have to change it all, then we'll bring that before you for action.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
We have 3 public hearings. The first one is regarding potential use for fiscal year 2023 for CDBG Regional Account. Is there a motion to open public hearing?
So moved.
The motion by Councilman Galindo, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Yolanda Galindo, CDBG consultant for the City of Somerton. This is a public hearing for the use of fiscal year 23 regional account CDBG funds. And we're proposing to submit an application to the Arizona Department of Housing for the phase 3 of the Somerton Heights project.
Thank you. Any member from public have any questions or comments? There's none. Is there a motion to close public hearing? So motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Councilman Galindo, those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Second public hearing is public hearing regarding the intent to establish or increase municipal fees, including an assessment and current fee for various city departments.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. This is the yearly review.
I'm gonna,
I'm sorry.
is there a
Yes, you need
motion
to
to open public hearing? So motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second, Mayor.
second by Councilman Galindo, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm trying to rush through this. Good evening again, Carmen Juarez, council and council members, mayor, council members. This is the yearly review of the citywide fee schedule. Following the state law, we have posted the actual fees, the proposed fee schedule for over 60 days now. And tonight, this is the public hearing to listen to any question, concerns, either from council or from the public.
Any member of the public have any questions or comments?
So to initiate.
has there anything changed since last time this was presented or?
Actually, what you see on your right-hand side and the recommendation, if you see numbers or symbols, that means that there is a change that is being proposed. If you don't see anything throughout the lines, that means that any changes are being proposed.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I noticed and I told Louis too, on the liquor license permit, it says $250.
If council wants me to go through every single page, or we want to go directly to the ones that you are specifically mentioning?
I think the ones that have recommendations, so at least point out, and
Okay.
so the public is aware too.
Absolutely. From the city clerk's office, mayor and council, the only changes that are being proposed is a change to the business license fee. The change is basically to
business, okay.
clarify. And you see the asterisks, the annual business
Not special,
license
okay.
fee has an asterisk. You go to
Thank
the footnote. And this fee is excluding assembly uses, places of worship, or religious in nature uses. Now, the next one, it's the, no, stay there, please. The next change that is being proposed is a business license one-day permit. This permit already exists, but it's in economic development. What we're trying to do is we're trying to transfer it from economic development to the city clerks, just so the city clerks handles all of the business license related forms. And the fee is for $15. What is being recommended today is an increase of $25. The next change down, it's a couple of asterisks. If we go to the footnote, the fire inspection and building inspection, it's for all non-residential usage, subject to inspection, including assembly uses, places of worship, or religious in nature. Any questions on those? We can move. You can just keep on going until the one that you have another, anything else to the right, there is. And this is for the safety, building safety and the community development department. There are some minor changes that are being proposed to six fees that we have. The first one is a water heater replacement, is being proposed from 45 to 50. The demolition permit, which requires 2 inspections, there's actually no fee right now, and it's being recommended a $50 fee for demolitions permits, and this is because there is administrative work involved as well as 2 inspections. Air conditioning replacement permit, there is no current fee being charged, and the proposal is $50. And again, this also requires inspections. Gas clearance and electrical clearance, it's being proposed to increase from $45 to $50. Any questions?
Yes, Mayor. Department and the water heater and the AC, how are you guys, if I don't come and tell you, how are you guys gonna find?
We will never know if you don't come and tell us, but once there is a fee here, and if you are out there doing a permit, work without a permit, that's a violation.
Because I'm concerned now that, there's summertime, we all do service to our AC, that doesn't include.
No,
But
no,
is,
this is
but my
talking,
thing is that now the inspector is gonna be stopping on every household, there's a truck from the AC, so are they gonna, or how's that?
this one doesn't include the yearly service
Yeah,
that we
I
do
know,
to
but
our
if-
units, but if you're replacing the actual unit,
Mhm.
and it's pretty easy to find because it's a huge crane that is hanging your AC unit up on top
No,
of the
mine-
roofs.
Mine is on the floor.
But typically, if the residents don't come to our front counter, we will not know. The issue here is that why the inspections are so important is because sometimes these type of changes entail electrical connections and whatnot. So it's part of the safety that the inspector needs to go and make sure that all the connections are properly done. That's the reason behind.
So, Councilman, Galindo, mostly these are reputable companies that will come and get the permit for the resident. We don't see a lot of residents pulling, putting their AC unit in their house. So usually it's up to the contractor to come in and.
And all of the
And request.
contractors doing this, they're ROC licensed contractors.
Yeah,
Any other question on this?
There's a few that fall through the cracks.
Can we give- So, anything else from community development? It's being proposed that no changes. This is another change from economic development fee schedule. This is the one-day vendor permit that we are proposing to transfer to the city clerk's office, just to keep it consistent with the rest of the information. And the proposal is also from 15 to 25. No changes from finance department. Fire department, we have some new fees that are being proposed by Chief Hernandez, and these are training classes that the fire department holds to residents and people that are in need of these particular training classes. There is no current fee for it, and the fire department is proposing $40 on a training per class per person. So we have the Heart Saver First Aid, Heart Saver CPR, Heart Saver CPR First Aid, and Healthcare Provider CPR classes.
One
Any
question
questions?
is, are those CPR classes from American Heart? Yeah, because I know right now there's some that the hospital is not a, if you're a hospital employee, if you want to go to Alex, it's not accepted no more. It has to be from the Heart Association. So I'm just making sure.
So these are the new fees being proposed for, from fire department. There are no other fees in the fire department that are being proposed to be changed. Parks and Recreation Department, this is the department that actually has the most changes and recommendations. So I would like to invite Ms. Roldan if you have questions about this, so she can better explain these changes. So for special event, the recommendation is we don't have current fees right now, and there's a table. So, Ms. Roldan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like Harmon just mentioned, these are some of the recommendations we made from Parks and Recreation. So we left the vendor spaces per event, which is a minor to major event, is a sliding fee from 0 to 150. So we can have a recommendation as a department to know per event what will be charged. Obviously, there's more other events going on sometimes, so that's why we left it like a 0 to 150. So that's the reason why we left it like that. So that's part of the vendor fee. We also made some changes for nonprofits. We left it open for hourly and also per day. So some people can, some nonprofits can just, are able to use the community center or the cultural center only for a few hours or for the whole day. So that's why we left it from $70 an hour, or 280 per day, 140 per hour, or 560 per day. And obviously, any local nonprofit within city limits can request a waiver of fees if the event is held during business hours. City manager approval requirements will be a proof of nonprofit status and non-transferable waiver of fees, nonprofit class C only. The other change, or it's the cultural center, same thing. We added 2 different options, which is hour or per day. And we also, one of the new changes will be adding Centennial Park as one of our area also for people to reserve for parties. So we started with $30 as a recommendation, since we don't have a lot of amenities at that park at the moment. So in the future, we'll increase our amenities and we'll increase our fees as well. And I think that's what we have from Parks and Recreation. Any questions,
I have a question, Mayor.
comments? Mhm.
Go ahead.
How are you going to decide on the first portion that you said from 0 to 150? How are you going to decide the amount?
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Gonzalez. So one of the things that we talked directly with our special events coordinator will be just to make sure if there's a lot of events going on and also vendors, if we don't get enough vendors, we notice there's not a lot of vendors signing up, then we will sit down and discuss what will be the best price.
I think if that's gonna be the case, we should have certain parameters or certain numbers that we have, that we not just arbitrarily deciding it. We have 5 vendors or we have 10 or
Mhm.
that. So hopefully we have this before we approve this.
Okay, we'll do.
Any other questions or comments?
Any more questions? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor and Council, moving on, Police Department also are proposing some changes to animal control, animal licenses. Actually, if you can move it up. What is being proposed, it's actually a reduction on the one-time impound fee from $25 to $20. Additional fee per night for up to 7 days is $10 currently. And instead of 7 days, now the proposal is $10 up to 5 days. And typically after the 5th day, the dogs impounded are taken over to the Humane Society. And the other license is the unaltered dog, 3 months of older. The current fee for the license is $50 annually, and the proposal is to decrease it to $30. And this is as an effort to bring more registrations of the dogs annually. Any questions on this? Public Works Department, the fee schedule, we are proposing to eliminate the special pickup fee for commercial purposes. And the encroachment permit fee, the proposal is to increase the current fee from $100 to $150.
Is that also for residential? They wanna install a driveway or
The special pickup, Mayor and Council, are the
the
containers that-
encroachment permit fee?
I'm sorry?
Under the encroachment permit.
Oh, the
fee.
encroachment? Yes, that, we only have a flat fee for residential and commercial developments. So it's $100 right now, and the proposal is $150. Any other questions? And this is it. These are all the proposals that you have. And
Any
you know.
questions or comments from the public? No. Is there a motion to exit public hearing?
Yeah,
Close.
question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question. I also had that same question as Councilwoman Gonzalez had on the alcohol permit. I just didn't get a chance to email Louis on that question. I don't know if her question was answered because I didn't hear a response. Can that get clarified for me, please?
Mayor, if I may?
Yeah.
Councilman Ravio, that is $250. That's for the business, a business taking out a liquor license here in the city of Somerton. It is not for special events. It's just the process that we have if a business wants to have a liquor permit for sale.
But that didn't change, right? It's kept the same
Yeah,
according to
it's
this.
kept the same.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
The motion by Councilman Galindo, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez, also in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a third public hearing. Rezoning case PLN by Tom Pancrazzi. Is there a motion to open public hearing?
So moved, Mayor.
A motion by Councilman Galindo, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you on the agenda is rezoning, the public hearing for rezoning case PLN 22-00020, a request by Tom Pancrazzi on behalf of Pericone, Arizona Properties, Arizona LLC for the rezoning of APN 19533-26, a 9.72 acre parcel more or less from C1/infill incentive overlay to C2/infill incentive overlay. Mayor and Council, this item was tabled at the December 20th meeting and is now being brought back. This is for the rezoning of the Pericone property just south of Pericone Park. It's a 9.72 acre parcel. The applicant seeks to rezone it from C1, which is neighborhood commercial with infill incentive overlay, to C2, general commercial. The purpose of the rezoning is to facilitate the potential development of some of the uses that the applicant has in mind, which include a service station, quick service restaurants, with drive-throughs. So those right now in the C1 district, current C1 zoning would require a conditional use permit even after the beginning, applying for a building permit. Sorry, even before applying for a building permit. So with the C2 zoning, it's a lot more flexible for those kinds of uses. That is the purpose of the rezoning. Could you scroll down, Andrea, just to show everyone the property that we're talking about? That's it. That's it right there. So we, staff took this to the Planning and Zoning Commission back in last year, back in November. And the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval with conditions. And a copy of the conditions of approval that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended are found in the staff report. However, when the item was tabled at the December 20th meeting, we held discussions with the developer, and we have now since then modified those conditions of approval that are now included as part of this item here. And basically, what the conditions do is they allow us to, well, number one, get a right-of-way dedication that is very much needed as part of this rezoning case, and everything else would be addressed at the subdivision plat, which is the next step for this project after this rezoning were to be approved. And we're also working with the developer applicant right now on an MOU between the applicant and the City of Somerton. But that MOU is not part of this rezoning case. That's independent. So for the time being, that's where we're at with this right now. Any questions from Mayor or Council?
Any questions or comments? Any questions from members of the public? There's none. Is there a motion to close public hearing? So motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second, Mayor.
second by Councilman Galindo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you,
Moving
Mayor and Council.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2023-004.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, Yolanda Galindo. A resolution is required authorizing the city to submit the application for fiscal year 23 for regional account CDBG funds to the Arizona Department of Housing for phase 3 of the Somerton Heights project.
Any questions or comments by council? Is there a motion? A motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second, Mayor.
second by Councilman Galindo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2023-005.
Mayor, council member, this is the resolution that would, if approved, would authorize the new fee schedule that I just presented to you along with the department heads. The resolution is also proposing the effective date of July 1st, 2023 as the effective date for these fees to become effective. So at this point, other than the request from mayor to have a criteria, specific criteria to use when deciding on the fees for Parks and Rec. We can present that to you, or we can, if you want to table this resolution until we present the criteria, it's your decision.
This is the opportunity for council to actually comment on it. The other was a public hearing. So in public hearings, we ask questions here. Is there any fee that you want to question or any concerns you have with these? I think for me, the only one's the encroachment permit. You know, I want to know the reason why it went $50. I know for the city of Yuma, I think it's 30 for residential and like, I think 75 for commercial or something like that. So I just wanted to see why the $50 when we, you know, try to be at least equitable to the other municipalities that around the county. So that would be that's about the only thing that stood out, that it just went. And I'm pretty positive it's not 150 or even 100 for
At
commercial.
City of Yuma.
Yeah, City of
Typically, Mayor, when we review the, Mayor and Council, when we review these fees, what we try at least is to cover the expenses. This particular encroachment permits require administrative portion as well as minimum of 2 inspections that we have to do. So that's the reason why we are always trying to at least break even from the expenses, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would like for us to see what the other municipalities, and we can at least be closer to what they have than.
Okay.
I think that's the only one that stood out for me. Any other comments from council?
No, Mayor, if I may. So we get the clear direction. I hear you mentioned something about residential and commercial.
Yeah.
Would you like us to look at those two
Yeah, maybe
options?
split them, yeah.
Split 'em?
See what the industry
Okay,
standard is.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So I'd like to make the motion to approve with the establishing a scale for, and also looking at other municipalities and.
So Mayor, you can pass it with that cap at
Yeah.
what, but if we come back, we can always lower fees. I mean, we just cannot increase them.
Yeah.
So between now and July, if the analysis is that it's lower, we can always
Okay.
plug in the lower number, but we can't exceed what you already did because that was published and that was noticed to the public.
There's a motion by Mayor,
Second.
second by Councilman Galindo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, discussion of possible action related to rezoning case PLN 22000020.
Mayor and council, this is the action item related to rezoning case PLN 22-0020. A request by Tom Pancrazzi on behalf of Perry County, Arizona Properties, Arizona LLC for the rezoning of APN 19533-026, a 9.72 acre parcel more or less from C1 infill incentive overlay to C2 infill incentive overlay. Mayor and council, if there are no further questions on this item, staff does have a recommended motion, and the recommended motion is for approval with conditions. And the conditions of approval are listed in Exhibit A. Andrea, if you could scroll down to Exhibit A. number one is a standard condition. The conditions listed below are in addition to city codes, rules, fees, and regulations that are applicable to this action. Number two, the owner shall dedicate a 25 by 25 visibility triangle on the southwest corner of the property to accommodate a traffic signal to be installed by the city of Somerton as shown on Exhibit D. That would be Exhibit D of the public hearing item. And then condition number three is condition number two listed above shall be completed within 1 month of the effective date of this rezoning ordinance or prior to the issuance of a building permit. And just to remind you, the 25 by 25 visibility triangle is for the traffic signal at Parkview Avenue and, well, whatever that street ends up being called, and Main Street. Any questions from mayor and council?
Any questions or comments? No. Is there a motion?
I would like to motion to approve rezoning case PLN 22-00020 with the conditions listed in Exhibit A.
So motion by Councilman Galindo. Second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, the next item here is the first reading of the ordinance which approves this rezoning.
Is there a motion? For first reading by title only.
Almost there.
The motion by Councilman Galindo. Second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, this is ordinance number 2023-001, an ordinance of the city of Somerton amending ordinance number 2015-002 and rezoning certain areas in the city for real property described herein as APN 19533-026, a 9.72 acre parcel, more or less from C1 neighborhood commercial with infill incentive overlay to C2 general commercial with infill incentive overlay. Thank you, Mayor.
Number 5, discussion possible action to amend capital improvement project equipment in the streets department.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. This item is on behalf of Public Works Department, and this is a request to amend a CIP item that was approved for fiscal year 2023. This capital improvement project, it's about the purchase of a what is it called, dump truck. And the fee, the CIP amount was approved for $80,000. Instead of purchasing the one dump truck, staff has explored the possibility of purchasing 2 dump trailers and 1 pickup truck. There's a financial impact. We have the $80,000 that have been already approved for the dump truck, and now the new potential price with the purchase of the new trailers and the new pickup truck is for $61,618 with 18 cents, with a potential savings of around $18,000. So the motion, the recommendation tonight is for council to amend the capital improvement plan and authorize the purchase of the 2 new dump trailers and a new pickup truck in fiscal year 2023 in the amount not to exceed $80,000. Do you have any questions on this?
Do we have a picture of those trailers? Why did we?
We don't have
No.
pictures, council member, but they look like a trailer with the,
Just a flat
what is
or
it
how?
called? Gooseneck?
Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
So the dump trailers, they're not flat. They actually look like the back of a truck, but they're bigger. They have hydraulics, which that's why they're called dump trailers. So one of the ideas we had is that we see other municipalities using this more as an efficiency for being able to pick up materials, especially during the cleanup. That would be less manpower. You could actually leave these trailers for our city workers to be able to put in the cleanup and actually be utilizing two of them at the same time using one truck. With one dump truck, you're looking at $80,000. You have one driver, and that's all you can use for it. You're basically, we're looking at this as an efficiency part, that you can utilize these. We get the cleanup. One of the challenges have been that as the city grows, the public works director has mentioned that he's had to add a zone or an area, an additional week, just because of the amount of pickups. This would help that efficiency and hopefully with the less manpower, but more able to fill it up and not worry about having people go there and have to help dump it with the regular trailers that we have now. This would help in that process also. And I'm sorry, we had a lot of pictures of the dump trailer. We just, so we'll make sure, well, I'll send you the pictures, but yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Councilman Galindo. Those in favor?
Aye.
There's 3 ayes.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. And Villalpando, nowhere to be heard.
Hey, you only need 3 out of the 5.
Okay, we have a summary of current events and then we're gonna adjourn to executive session.
Mayor, first we have community development.
Mayor and council, it is now Building Safety Month, and tomorrow we will be having a little celebration here at City Hall. So I invite you all to join us for a cake in honor of Building Safety Month, and we'll have the other refreshments there. The same for all directors and any of your staff who are involved in the plan review, inspections, they're all invited to join us. We got a full sheet, so there's plenty. And then it's also next week, it's Public Works Week, National Public Works Week. And we'll be having small events all week, but the main event, the one that's the most noticeable, is the Public Works Exhibition, which will take place here on State Avenue. That's when all the divisions of the Public Works Department will have display booths and equipment. And there'll also be a job fair for the recruitment of future Public Works employees. So I invite you all to come. It's on May 24th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that is all I have.
Next, we'll have Parks and Rec.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to invite everyone to our Dia de las Madres celebration tomorrow at the Senior Center. The celebration will start at 10 a.m. It's gonna be fun, a lot of music and cake, food. So everybody, directors, department directors are also welcome to be there tomorrow. Thank you.
Mayor, next we have Chief of Police.
Mayor Council, good evening. Yesterday we celebrated, or we had a ceremony at the PAC, the Yuma PAC, for the 46th anniversary of the memorial downtown. So if you have a chance, maybe in the future, they do it every year. Usually it's within this time period. If you're more than welcome to attend, I will send the invitation. I believe I sent it to staff. So the other thing is, this week we celebrate National Police Week. So it'll be celebrated all the way out through Sunday. So we'll have a couple things going on Facebook and reminders and some photos that we'll be sharing from our honor guard that was yesterday at the PAC as well. The other thing we want to remind the public is summer is summer vacation are coming pretty soon for everybody. Kids are going to be out of school, teenagers will be out of school, and some people might be taking vacations. If you leave town, call us. We'll check on your house. We'll make sure that we're swinging by there once in a while to make sure that your property is safe. And then the other thing that we want to remind the public is, please help us out and not parking on the sidewalks, on driveways, and allow the opportunity for the people that are handicapped or elderly to walk our sidewalks safely, so that we don't cover them and we don't disrupt traffic. So there's a lot of marked areas throughout the town that indicate whether it's a bicycle lane or it's a handicap ramps. Please help us with that. We're going to be doing a little bit more enforcement at that. So we want to remind the public to please be cautious with that. And last thing, I just want to thank council for approving the decrease in fees for the animal control. The public has been real good in trying to comply with registering their pets and their dogs. So animal control has done a great job in maintaining the enforcement of dogs at large. And we've seen a large decrease in pets no longer in our streets. So I just want to thank you for that. I think they'll make our compliance from the public a lot better. So thank you.
Mayor, that's all we have.
Councilman Villalpando,
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Delgadillo,
I don't have anything either. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Just wanted to thank staff. I think the Chelada Fest went very well. Thank you to PD and everybody. It was a good turnout. The clinic for the vaccine clinic last week, not a huge turnout, but they'll be coming back on June 8th. They'll be sharing their flyer with us to be able to hopefully get more school vaccinations, being that I think June they register for preschool too. So they'll share that with us, and I can share it with staff to have the verbiage included in the flyers. And again, that's June 8th. And to Director Roldan's question about the schedule, there isn't a set schedule. I just get the dates after they complete one clinic. So I don't have a schedule. That's it for me. Oh, sorry, Mayor. I've been on the calls for the morning calls at 9 a.m. for the reports on Title 42 and all that. Very interesting. Everything seems, at least here in Somerton and around the county, seems to be going fairly easy. There's an increase in buses at Regional Center, of course, but street releases are very, very minimal right now. So.
Councilman Galindo.
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Last week, I attended GYDC meeting. Tomorrow, I'm gonna attend the investors luncheon at GYDC too. And I also want to thank staff for the Chelada Fest. Went really well. There was a lot of people that usually don't come to Somerton events that were showing a lot of interest. So you saw a lot of, especially the younger crowd. So that was pretty good. There's a lot of potential. Sure, every year is gonna grow. And also the migrant situation. Yeah, we've been working with the Yuma County especially, and it was just one of those things that it was like wait and see. We didn't know what's gonna happen. There was a lot of uncertainty of what was gonna happen, but it seems that everything has been under control. And again, thanks to Amanda and the Senior Regional Board of Health, Somerton is helping and processing most of the migrants. And there's been some street releases, like Councilwoman said, but not as it was anticipated by some media outlets. So that it's from what it is until the word is out. Then I'm sure it's gonna keep going down.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did forget something. Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
I am also attending those 9 a.m. calls, and I feel that either the city manager or the deputy city manager need to be attending as well. All of the municipalities are attending, and so when they call for Somerton, yes, we're the only ones there. But I think chief of police or fire chief, they asked for you guys today, and nobody was there to represent our community other than Councilwoman Gonzalez and I. So, if we can have representation from management, they're just, to be a unison with the entire county. Thank you.
Well, see if it's effective, because we're getting the brief, so, let's, it's a good,
And Mayor, if I may, today we had a department head meeting and the chiefs have been attending that. But I'll make sure that either I or Carmen will be on the line. This is the first time we had a department head meeting and so that's why they weren't there, but we'll make sure we have someone there at all times.
yeah, and it's gonna be every day, so
Thank you.
just make sure it's a good use of your time too. Yeah,
It's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not much.
yeah. Okay, so we have an executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn to executive session? So motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez, second by Councilman Galindo, meeting adjourned.